big-time weekend for college football. Is NIL ruining quarterback development for college football quarterbacks? They haven't played anybody. They've been more than a 40-point favorite in every game. And for people that like talking about Deion Sanders, which is most of sports media, speaking of thrillers, how about a night game in Athens, Georgia? Big-time show today on this Friday. We are sprinting into the weekend on this show. We are going to get things done today. As I mentioned, Danica McKellar will join us a little bit later. John McClain to talk NFL on the program today as well. Plenty to get into. Is NIL ruining quarterback development for college football quarterbacks? We're going to discuss that as well on the show today. But as we do each and every Friday on the show, I'm going to give you Withrow's top 10 college football games of the week.
To watch college football, it's time to bang some hats. Here's Chad Withrow's must-see games this weekend.
Oh, it is indeed time to bang some damn hats on this show and in college football this weekend. And unfortunately, not a lot of hats have been banged in Boulder, Colorado so far this season. Deion Sanders, talking about limping into the weekend. Deion Sanders limping in year 3 as the Colorado Buffaloes head coach as they get set to host BYU. BYU a 6.5-point favorite. Game in Boulder, 9:15 Central Time, 10:15 Eastern on ESPN on Saturday night. BYU ranked 25th nationally. Feels like a big one for Deion Sanders. And for people that like talking about Deion Sanders, which is most of sports media, it's one they're going to be rooting for Deion to win. Because if Coach Prime isn't able to pull off the upset and win at home, you start to look at the rest of their schedule, and it's tough finding a route to relevancy for that Colorado program. And that's what we're going to see on Saturday night in Boulder, Colorado. Game number 9. Let's go to Columbia, South Carolina. The Gamecocks, a 5.5-point home favorite against the Kentucky Wildcats. 7:45 Eastern, 6:45 Central on SEC Network. Talking about a fight for relevancy. How about Lenora Sellers and his Heisman hopes and the South Carolina Gamecocks and a team that was projected to, if not be in the college football playoff, be in the discussion? That has not been the case. Their offense looked bad against what we now know is a terrible Virginia Tech team. Their offense looked even worse in a home rout at the hands of Vanderbilt. Now, granted, half the game was played without Lenora Sellers. Last week, the offense looked a little bit better, but not enough to go on the road and beat a game Missouri Tigers squad. So now South Carolina at home. If you want to see what Vegas thinks about this team, they're a 5.5-point home favorite, less than a touchdown favorite over Kentucky. Kentucky, to me, far and away the worst team in the SEC. So big game for Shane Beamer, big game for South Carolina. Might I add, a big game for Virginia Tech fans, because if South Carolina loses this game and suddenly they have 3 losses on the young season and this thing spirals this year, I think you got a much better shot at landing Shane Beamer to come home. Come back to us. Come back to Blacksburg. Come back to God's country. It'll be a lot easier if South Carolina goes 4-8 this season for him to leave. That's my 9th rated game of the week. Game number 8. Number 24 TCU on the road in Tempe to take on Arizona State. The Sun Devils are a 3.5-point favorite in that game. 8 p.m. Central Time on Fox. Once again, Arizona State strong against the run. They're weak against the pass. They were good defensively a year ago. They've taken a step back, and we saw that in that loss in Starkville, Mississippi, where they allow a receiver to get behind the safety, score a touchdown late in that one to lose. Sam Lovett, the quarterback for the Sun Devils, he's been good. They need him to be great. Josh Hoover is a stud quarterback to watch for TCU. TCU on the road, a slight underdog. A good one on Fox. By the way, that game played tonight, a Friday night special on Fox. Game number 7. Number 21, USC, a 6.5-point road favorite in Champaign to take on the 23rd-ranked Illinois Fighting Illini. This game is a big noon kickoff, noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on Fox. 63-10. That was the final a week ago. Dan Dockich very excited about his Indiana Hoosiers. Fernando Mendoza did whatever he wanted against that Illinois defense. Will Illinois get off the mat and show something this week? Jaden Mayava for USC, he's been great early. 974 yards, 8 touchdowns in the first half alone. So fast start's key for USC. USC's pass defense, though, ranked 75th nationally. Good opportunity for Luke Altmyer and that Illinois offense to bounce back. Are they good enough to do it? I would say 63-10 says otherwise. We're going to find out early tomorrow on that big noon kickoff game. Game number 6, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Tyler Castle excited about this one. Number 1 in the country, a 7.5-point road favorite at Washington. 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central on CBS. Washington should be ranked. Let me start there. Okay, Ohio State less than a double-digit favorite against anyone in the Big Ten. That's pretty rare, honestly, with the greatness of Ohio State. They should be ranked. That's what Vegas is telling us with the Washington Huskies. Julian Sayin is completing 79% of his passes this season. Jeremiah Smith, still good, 153 yards and a touchdown a week ago. Damon Williams Jr., the quarterback for Washington, very good dual-threat quarterback. 778 and 6 touchdowns with no interceptions through the air, and he's averaging 6.5 yards per carry when he tucks it. Interesting road trip here for Ohio State, going on the road to Seattle to take on Washington. Their trip to the Pacific Northwest a year ago was one of their 2 losses on the season when they went to Oregon. Game number 5, number 22 Notre Dame, a 4.5-point road favorite at Arkansas. This game in Fayetteville. Arkansas, strangely, plays some games in Little Rock. They played Arkansas State there, I think. This game will be at the home of the Hogs in Fayetteville, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern on ABC. Huge moment. I mean, huge moment for both Sam Pittman and for Marcus Freeman. Notre Dame is perfect against unranked opponents since that disastrous loss a year ago early to Northern Illinois. Jadarian Price is a difference maker for Notre Dame. He went off in a loss to Texas A&M. But with him and Jeremiah Love, the rushing attack and the versatility of that attack, really, really good for Notre Dame. But Arkansas, the Hogs have an offense too. Taylon Green, believe it or not, probably the early favorite for SEC Player of the Year. 12 touchdown passes. He's averaging over 8 yards per carry. And Arkansas offensively, and they've played a difficult schedule so far. They've got a game at Memphis. They played Ole Miss already. They're averaging over 45 points per game. So this Arkansas offense is no joke. The problem is their defense has been a joke so far. So I think that's advantage Notre Dame in this one, but a big-time game on ABC at 11 a.m. Central. Number 4 game of the week, Auburn at number 9, Texas A&M. The Aggies, a 6.5-point favorite at home, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central Time on ESPN. A&M's had 2 weeks to prepare for this matchup with Auburn. Auburn's got to pick themselves up after a loss and a tough one at Oklahoma. Auburn's defense has been stout. We don't talk enough. A lot about Hugh Freeze, about Jackson Arnold coming in, about Cam Coleman on the outside. Let's give some flowers to that Auburn defense, which has been terrific so far this year. They've got the ability to slow down the ground game. I think they can do that against A&M, and they're going to put the game on the right arm of Marcel Reid. Texas A&M has not been great third down offensively. That's going to be a key in this one. This feels to me like a carbon copy of a week ago. I think it was 24-17 or something like that with Oklahoma beating Auburn. Feels that way again this week. I think this is a 27-20, 20-13 type grinded-out win for A&M, but we'll see Auburn with another chance to get a big road victory. Game number 3. Let's stay in the SEC. Number 4 LSU at number 13 Ole Miss. 3:30 Eastern Time, 2:30 Central on ABC. Ole Miss is allowing over 5 yards per carry. LSU needs to forget about Garrett Nussmeier and his Heisman campaign. It's not going to happen. Garrett Nussmeier has been pedestrian at best so far this season. He hasn't hurt LSU. He hasn't been what we expected either. Run the damn ball. That is my edict to LSU in this game. There are opportunities against that Ole Miss defense. Run it some more, and run it again. That's LSU's path to victory in this game. Ole Miss, they're expected to go again with Trinidad Chambliss, the transfer from Ferris State. He's been terrific. He threw for 353 and rushed for 112 against Arkansas. LSU's defense, though, has been great so far. So what gives in this game? Is it going to be a steady dose of the run game for LSU where they can bleed out a win on the road? This should be a thriller either way. Speaking of thrillers, how about a night game in Athens, Georgia? Number 2 game of the week. Number 17, Alabama on the road to take on the Bulldogs, ranked 5th. This is a 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central start on ABC. Georgia is 1-9 in their last 10 versus Bama. Kirby Smart's 1-6. Kirby Smart has dominated Everyone else in the SEC not named Alabama, but he has struggled against the Crimson Tide, and that's something that's the monkey he's got to get off his back. A year ago, keep this in mind, they trailed by 28, Georgia did, at Alabama before a furious rally. They actually led 34-33 before that incredible touchdown catch and run from Ryan Williams that eventually gave Alabama the 41-34 win. Sounds familiar, that score even? A lot like Georgia's trip to Knoxville, where they were able to get the win in overtime a couple weeks ago. Georgia needs to protect Gunnar Stockton, and they need to find a way to get Oscar Delp and Lawson Lucky more involved. Great tight end play from Georgia. They need to get them in on the offense. Bama's going to get back Tim Keenan III on the defensive line. Huge boost for Alabama's defense. They're also going to get Jam Miller back at running back. And a big-time moment for Ty Simpson in his second road game. First one did not go so well at Florida State to open the year. Game number 1, let's go to the Big Ten. Number 6, Oregon at number 3, Penn State. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on NBC. Penn State was off last week. Penn State, let's face it, it's been off all 4 weeks of the season so far. They haven't played anybody. They've been more than a 40-point favorite in every game. They are 0-3 against the spread. Now, keep in mind, 40-plus point favorite, they've won comfortably, but have failed to cover the spread in every game. Drew Aller, he's been underwhelming. 4 touchdown passes. He's been sacked 3 times. But Katron Allen has been anything but, averaging 8 yards per carry. Big stage for Dante Moore, quarterback at Oregon, a team that most of America probably doesn't spend a lot of time watching is Oregon. They're going to be watching Saturday night on NBC as Dante Moore taking over Dylan Gabriel, doing a good job so far this season. Those are my top 10 games of the college football weekend. Also want to give a shout out to PrizePicks. PrizePicks, big-time sponsor of this show and all the shows here at OutKick. This episode brought to you by PrizePicks. Look, you and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. We're getting into the football season now. We had a game last night. We're going to have more games this weekend, and there's some big-time matchups that you can play with PrizePicks, and it's simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. PrizePicks is also the best way to get action on sports in more than 40-plus states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. PrizePicks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. PrizePicks also offers injury reboots, so if one of your players leaves the game in the first half and doesn't return, PrizePicks won't count it as a loss. PrizePicks, they invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. We all love that. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. PrizePicks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on PrizePicks. PrizePicks, the best place to win cash while watching sports, and join millions of users and sign up today. Simple. Download the app today and use code HOTMIC. That's HOTMIC to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code HOTMIC to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. It's also good to be Beth Mowens. Big Game Beth, she's got quite the life. Big Game Beth is going to be calling, speaking of big-time NFL matchups, how about the 0-3 Titans taking on the 0-3 Texans this weekend? That is what I call an enormous matchup. Big Game Beth will be on the call of that one. This is her actual game assignment on CBS. But for Big Game Beth, look, this isn't an in memoriam segment because Big Game Beth is still very much with us, thank God, and able to bring her expert analysis and broadcasting ability to our television screens each and every weekend. But if I had my pick, if I was the all-seeing, omniscient God of sports broadcasting, what I would decree is that Fox hire Big Game Beth away and put her on the Big Ten Network where she belongs. Put her on the Big Ten Network so she can call blockbuster games like this one, where I think Big Game Beth should be this week. Rutgers at Minnesota. Nothing screams Big Game Beth like Minneapolis on a Saturday morning as you leave Big Noon kickoff and you're thinking, what's the big game going to be? What's it going to be? Oh, it's the sound. That sound right there of Big Game Beth welcoming you to Minneapolis for Rutgers at Minnesota, Saturday, noon Eastern, on Big Ten Network. That is our big Game Beth Mowens game of the week. We also like to play a little wrong team favored on this show, and it's been going pretty well for most of us so far. As you see here, wrong team favored for week 4. Hutton hit it with Memphis over Arkansas for 7.5. He takes the lead in the competition with 14.5 points. I was dead wrong, although I will say final score a little bit deceiving. It was like 13-7 in the fourth quarter with Florida with the ball with a chance to win it. Instead, Miami ran and hid. Florida loses again. I did not win. Adam Brown did win. Texas Tech, 3.5 points he picked up with a really second half demolishing of the Utah Utes. Bowling Green was not very close to Louisville at last check. I was following that game closely because our Sean Anderson picked Bowling Green and Eddie George to win it. They did not. So Sean, right now in dead last in the competition, 1.5 points. I'm in second with 13.5. Adam Brown at 8.5 points. So let's find out this week, shall we, our picks of the week. Do we have one for Hutton this week?
We do have one for Hutton. Hutton went with Oregon over Penn State. I guess he was following what you were talking about in your top 10 games, Chad, where Penn State has not looked good against the spread so far and really hasn't played anybody. So I can only assume that's what Hutton's going with there with the Ducks. I
had a number of choices to go through, and I really came down to like 2 or 3 different games. Let's see what game I picked. Let's reveal it together. There it is, Syracuse. I was shocked to see this. Syracuse, even with their backup quarterback, they're a almost touchdown underdog. I think it's 5.5 at home against Duke, coming off the win at Clemson. Duke's not that good. Darian Mensah is pretty talented. I don't think Duke's very good. Syracuse is going to win, even with Ricky Collins at quarterback. So give me the orange. Big Fran Brown fan over here. That guy is a ball knower and ball lover, and I love him. He's going to be gone from Syracuse very soon, is my guess, but not this week as Syracuse gets the win. Adam, where are you going this week?
Chad, I'm going with Pitt over Louisville. I don't think Louisville has looked very good. I kind of feel the same way about that as your Syracuse pick. Is I don't understand the line here with little bits of points here, and eventually it'll play itself out.
Which school is more liberal, Cal or Boston College in the areas they're in? It's got to be Cal, right? I would say.
I would think so. I would think, like off the top of my head, I would go Cal, but I feel like something about Boston College could surprise you in that one.
Riding with the libs is Sean Anderson. Another one, speaking of vibes, and I already won with West Virginia at home this year over Pittsburgh in one of my picks. I really thought about them. They're hosting Utah this week, and they were like a 10-point. It was a pretty big spread. And I'm thinking, should I ride with West Virginia again at home? No, we'll ride it out with Cuse this week. We ride it out with John McClain every week here on the show. We're going to preview the NFL weekend with John McClain when we come back. This is Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow across the OutKick Network.
Football's finally back. So's the hard-hitting gridiron action on PrizePicks. Download PrizePicks and use code OutKick and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
What's it like suing the NCAA?
Well, I really don't know how to answer that. I mean, it worked out in my favor. I'm super blessed for it, for sure.
We'll never do that, you know.
Right.
So like, I mean, you're in a world of change, and you win. You know, you're back because you won. I mean, you get to live out your dream another year, right?
Yeah, that is true. Well, I want to finish something that I started, and I want to win a national championship at Vanderbilt.
It does feel like you're sort of the poster boy of what the transfer portal can do for someone, right? With extra eligibility, you know, you had the JUCO years also. But you're an overnight sensation at Vanderbilt. You were a great player at New Mexico State also, but how cool is that now that you get to extend that journey, being the guy that everybody looks to and says, oh, that's why the transfer portal is there?
Well, I feel like the transition from Conference USA to SEC, it was important because I really wanted to know where my game was at, and I felt like I was really good at, in the Conference USA, and obviously it transitioned pretty well, but there's a little bit left on the table that I want to go get. And that we will get, and so I'm super excited for this year. Obviously, we're fully loaded, probably 8 guys from Conference USA, so we're really exciting.
So you've got some good jewelry on here. Do they make a ring for winning the Iron Bowl when you beat Auburn twice and Alabama once? Is there a specific piece of jewelry that you could possibly make for that occasion?
Oh, I don't know about that. They're both really great competitors, Super excited to go play those guys again this year, though.
You talk shit, but I believe it when you say it, right? Like when you guys beat Alabama and I'm watching that interview, you're one of those guys. Certain people do it, and then they say it, and people don't believe them. They don't follow them. Right. You're not one of those guys. Have you always sort of possessed that, where when you say something, you truly believe it, even if it sounds crazy to other people?
Yeah, it might sound crazy to other people, or maybe people might call me delusional or something, but whatever I say, I believe. That's just how I grew up, and be a man of your word, And so that's what my brothers taught me. That's what my mom taught me. And so what I say, I'm going to do.
How quickly did that rub off on your Vanderbilt teammates when you got there? We've talked to Coach Lee about it, and talking to you on the phone initially, the feelings he got from when you were talking about it. It's not every day you get to talk to a Hall of Famer and Winnie Cooper on the same show, but that's what we're accomplishing here today. We're going to go from John McClain to Danica McKellar, Winnie Cooper, and she's got a lot to talk to you about. John McClain always has a lot to talk to us about, and he is on with us right now. John, how are you on this fine Friday?
I'm great, Cadillac. How are you?
I'm good, John. Things aren't great with the Titans. So Brian Callahan has stripped himself of play calling duties. There's some debate about whether that was his decision or not, or if that came from above. But that always feels like the first step in the you're no longer going to be the head coach at some point, either this season or right after this season move.
Yeah, he didn't give it up. It was taken from him. And it's interesting, the offensive coordinator is not calling plays, but then the general manager doesn't have final say over personnel either. So the structure they have there is unique, to say the least. I believe, and I don't know, you're there, you cover them every day, but when you have a head coach who's been caught not knowing rules and making really stupid decisions in clock management and game management, and if the Titans lose to the Texans to start 0-4, I think there's a good chance that Brian Callahan could be fired next week. Mike McCoy, an offensive assistant, he has head coaching experience with the Chargers, even though he was not designated as the play caller. So he's the one you would think would be named interim coach. But I think this game is going to be low scoring and boring because the Texans have the worst offense in the NFL, the fewest points. The Texans have not scored a touchdown in the red zone. They're the worst on third down, and C.J. Stroud is getting pressure this year like last year, and he's starting to feel pressure. He's indecisive. He's not confident, and it's the first time Stroud, D'Amico, Ryans have gotten criticism, but mainly, Chad, like it's directed at their new offensive coordinator, first-time play caller, Nick Caley.
Yeah, and John, it's with the Titans. Hutton brought this up earlier this week. There are 5 different coaches that coach Cam Ward on that team. There's a lot of misdirection, and it feels like one big shell game where you don't quite know who's in charge and what's going on, and that's an organizational issue. They've got Chad Brinker and Borgonzi, right? They've got the head coach who's also the play caller, who's now no longer the play caller, but his own OC isn't the one calling plays. It's Bo Hardigree. There's Burke Nihill introducing Mike Keith to boos because everybody's booing the head coach at halftime, and Burke Nihill's on the business side has to sign off on football things. It's an organization that needs one voice in one direction, right?
I won't be there, but if they lose to the Texans, which they should, I'd love to be there when Mike Vrabel is introduced. He'll probably get a reception like Vince Lombardi would have gotten at Lambeau Field, just because fans will be even more vociferous in their praise for him and kind of forgetting what happened at the end. But back to the Titans, this is what happened with Bryce Young his rookie year with Carolina. He had an offensive head coach and a play caller. He had an offensive coordinator. He had a quarterback coach. He had a former head coach, offensive coordinator. You should have the quarterback coach working every day with the quarterback. The offensive coordinator and play caller looks at the big picture, but he meets with the quarterback. And then the head coach sits in on everything. You don't need different people telling him what to do. His head's got to be spinning, and that's on them. And, of course, the fact he's been sacked 15 times more than quarterback in the league. What you've got to do with a rookie who has wide receivers that can't catch the ball, Tony Pollard looks like the best weapon they have, is you got to make it simple. You've got to keep it simple for him. And then once he masters something, then give him a little more. The worst thing you can do to a rookie quarterback is have somebody in this ear, somebody in that ear, and everybody telling him when things go wrong, what's up, and he's got to be confused.
John, you're the perfect person to ask this question to. What is the biggest issue with the Texans so far with this?
Well, I know you've never heard this before, Cadillac, and I'm stunned that I've just detected this, but their offensive line is terrible. They've changed every starting position, and they've been terrible. And then when Stroud gets some time to throw, he's completed some passes, but he also has misfired on plays. He's not being smart with the ball, and that's a byproduct of getting pressured or hit or forced out of the pocket almost every time you drop back.
John, when you see Travis Kelce and Andy Reid on Sunday Night Football getting into it and sort of, a little shoulder shrug to each other and all that, I think, half of America is like, boy, that shows their great relationship and how they can get after each other and the respect they have for each other. And then the other half of America is saying, oh, here's the cracks in the facade. This Chiefs team isn't that good. Their offense is a mess. They're 1-2, and they're not going to be the Chiefs team we know in the past. Where do you fall when you see that interaction?
I don't think anything about it. It's been going on for years. Just the fact that they're off to a bad start, people are making it something out of what it's not. They got problems. Super Bowl losers usually never very good. Look at the 49ers last year. Came off the Super Bowl loss and didn't even make the playoffs. Now they got the easiest schedule in the NFL. They don't have as much talent. Their wide receivers are not as talented as they were. The backs, their offensive line changes every year. The two constants they have are Kelce, who probably should have retired last year, and, of course, Patrick Mahomes, who still is one of the premier quarterbacks in the NFL. But right now, they don't even look like one of the top three teams in the AFC.
John, how much does Micah Parsons make his old team pay this weekend on Sunday Night Football with the Cowboys?
I'm looking at my watch here, and it's actually been 5 minutes since I haven't seen an ad on TV or heard on radio or online about that game Sunday night.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Now, it should get a great rating, of course, and he's going to be fired up, and he's going to try to make life miserable for Dak Prescott. And the Cowboys have to make sure two people block him every time. Make somebody else hit Prescott, not Micah Parsons, because he's the difference maker. And I'm going to watch it. I'm tired of watching the Cowboys. I even like the Cowboys, but I want to see what Micah Parsons does in his return to AT&T Stadium.
John, let's go through some of these games this upcoming Sunday. Undefeated matchup. Eagles in Tampa to take on the Bucs. What do you think of the matchup? What do you think of the start? We knew the Eagles were obviously very good. What do you make of this start for Baker Mayfield in Tampa?
I watched Baker on the last drive in the last 2 minutes beat the Texans with a touchdown with 6 seconds left. He's done it 3 times in a row at the end. Never been done first 3 games of the season. Mike Evans is out. He's got a hamstring injury, so he's not going to have his best weapon. But there's something magical about this team. Todd Bowles, really good defensive coach, and they bring in a new coordinator every year for Baker Mayfield. It's like it's his offense, and he's mainly coaching it. He is playing great. I think Tampa Bay is going to hand the Eagles their first loss. First thing the Eagles need to do is get Saquon Barkley going. They're facing different defenses than they did last year. Teams are stacking to stop him, and Jalen Hurts is playing great. I just think this game's going to belong to the Bucs.
John, the AFC South right now belongs to the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm not making a big deal out of the way they took apart the Titans, who were awful in the second half on Sunday, but I will make a big deal out of if they go to L.A. and beat the Rams this weekend. How legit is this Colts team, and how much are we buying the resurgence of Daniel Indiana Jones as the Colts QB?
And it's great the way things are going there. Shane Steichen doing a really good job. The GM, Chris Ballard, he's breathed a big sigh of relief after they whipped on the Anthony Richardson 4th overall pick. But they've beaten the Dolphins winless. They've beaten Denver on a game they should have lost. The guy missed the kick, but a penalty for leverage gave him another chance, and they win at the end, and then they beat the Titans. I saw the Rams. Texans played the Rams in the first game. Texans defense played great, gave up 2 touchdowns. They lost 14-9 because the offense couldn't score. If the Colts win against the Rams, we're going to have to start talking about Daniel Jones in the MVP conversation, because that would legitimize them, as you just pointed out.
John, I'm excited that the Lions, that we over-exaggerated their demise and offensively in that first week against the Packers, because that was a bit of a bummer, because as a fan of organizations that never do well finally doing well, which I am, I want the Lions to be right there in the mix in the NFC. And what they proved going to Baltimore and winning on Monday night, and the way that offense looked, what did that show you?
Showed me the Lions have made a successful transitions to John Morton as offensive coordinator. He's been around forever. And that Ben Johnson, who got his first big win for the Bears, it's a seamless transition. Jared Goff played great. I picked Detroit and Buffalo in the Super Bowl, mainly because they're loaded with talent, but also love the fan bases. That means one long-suffering fan base would win. And I feel a whole lot better about that pick after watching the Lions in that game. Baltimore's still going to win that division, still get a playoff game at home. I don't think anybody wants to play them in Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry never had a fumble issue. You watched him every game in his career. Now he does. It's almost like he's psyched out about it. But I think he will get over that problem, and he will play great.
John McClain never has a fumble issue. Ball security always the main thing for John when he joins us. John, how can people follow you on social media, and what might they get during that Titans-Texans game on Sunday on social media as you're watching that Texans and Titans game?
I've been tempted to watch the Ryder Cup because this game, as I mentioned,
a terrible start for the Americans in the Ryder Cup, though.
Oh, my goodness, it's terrible. I had McClain _on_NFL, and I'll be tweeting, and I'll try to be calm at the start. But, boy, if it's a fiasco like I expect, and sometimes I run out of adjectives. I almost need a thesaurus on my computer to give me some more negative things to call the Texans. But I think most of what I do on Sunday is going to be negative.
I know plenty of writers that could use a thesaurus, John, so you would not be alone. John, thank you so much. Great seeing you, my friend.
Thank you, Chad Lack. Have a good weekend.
John McClain joins us every week. When we come back, Danica McKellar, she's got a new movie out. She's got a children's book that she's written. Winnie Cooper from the Wonder Years joins OutKick Hot Mic. That's next.
Football's finally back. So's the hard-hitting gridiron action on PrizePicks. Download PrizePicks and use code OutKick and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit PrizePicks.com for restrictions and details.
Out of here. Here is Dabo Sweeney saying, hey, what are you going to do? You don't like me? I'm gone. Don't do that, Dabo. Do not do that. Here he is.
If they want me gone, if they tired of winning, they can send me on their way, because that's all we've done is win. So if they tired of winning, we've won this league 8 out of the last 10 years. Is that not good? I'm just asking. Is that good? I don't know if that's good or not. To win your league 8 out of 10 years, to go to the playoffs 7 out of 10 years, to be in 4 national championships, win it twice. Yeah, we're a little down right now. Take your shots, but I got a long memory, in case y'all don't know. We'll be all right. We'll bounce back. This is a program built to last, always has been, always will be. And I would just say if you give up on us if you don't believe in us because we've lost 2 games down to the last straight and you didn't believe in us anyway, so it don't matter. You wasn't all in anyway. If you're all in, you burn the ships, man. There ain't no exit strategy. Like, you're freaking all in. And hey, listen, I mean, if Clemson's tired of winning, they send me on my way, but I'm gonna go somewhere else and coach. I ain't going to the beach. Hell, I'm 55. I got a long way to go. Y'all gonna have to deal with me for a while. I have a long way to go. I'm just getting going. I'm just now good enough to be a head coach.
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. Is the pressure getting to him? Yeah. Yeah, Dabo Swinney has been under fire for a while. When NIL came, he didn't really embrace it. He didn't even fake it, which was kind of like, I don't know, man. You kind of got to fake it. You don't want to give people that list. Here's the deal, the list. When you are on the hot seat, the media brings up a list. And what is that list? It's all the things you did going back to the start of your career. Back when he started here, he said this. He didn't attend this. He said this. He didn't adapt NIL 5 years ago. He didn't blah, 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 blah. That's what they do, and every coach knows it. The list on Dabo Swinney does not include winning. However, let me give you what it is. The list on Dabo Swinney includes the program is headed downward. Ever since NIL became a big deal, the program has not skyrocketed. The program has leveled. It's not dumped, but it's leveled on the way. It's on a descent. And that's the biggest thing. He would not be the first coach to stay too long. He would not be the first coach to make mistakes. Most, if all, do. But sometimes fan bases, players, everybody kind of knows there's no momentum in your program. What does momentum mean? It's like that Supreme Court justice. I can't define it, but I know it when I see it. And momentum out of your program, which is what I feel Dabo Swinney's program is now. Doesn't mean he should be fired. Doesn't mean he should go. He's just got to get it.
So, full disclosure, if you would have told 9-year-old me, Chad Withrow, that I would one day get a chance to interview Danica McKellar, a.k.a. Winnie Cooper from the Wonder Years, I would have been in disbelief at 9 years old. But here we are, full circle, and Danica McKellar is a guest on this show, and we are thrilled to have her. She's got a movie coming out, Grounded in Love, premiering Saturday, September 27th. That's tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Great American Family. She's got 12 children's books, and one is out right now recently, I Love You 100, and her 12th Christmas movie coming out this year. She's been very busy, and she's kind enough to join the show right now. Danica, welcome in. You've got a lot going on right now.
Thank you so much. Yes, I do. It's a busy season. I feel very blessed. It's been very exciting. Yeah, my newest movie, Grounded in Love, is tomorrow night on Great American Family Channel, 9 o'clock. I will be live tweeting. Or do you still say live tweeting? Or do you say live?
I say tweeting. I can't say live X posting. That doesn't sound right.
Work.
Tweeting sounds a lot better.
Yeah, live posting on X, sure, technically, but it's just not as like,
yeah.
So I'll be live tweeting.
I think if you still put twitter.com in, it goes to the X site. So I think you're fine either way. Great. So live tweeting works, yeah. That'll be fun.
Yeah, so Grounded in Love, I play a flight attendant who was recently furloughed, and I decide that I'm going to go back to spend some time with my grandmother for a few months while I'm waiting for the new airline that bought that one to hire me. Unbeknownst to me, my high school crush, almost boyfriend, has also moved back home, but permanently, to the farm next door and is running that farm. And so I'm having to sort of face my childhood crush, who, through all sorts of like fun, awkward rom-com things, but also my grandmother in it plays a really pivotal role. She's hilarious. She reminds me a little bit of my grandmother when she was alive, who lived to be 99 years old. And just the spunk and the energy. It's just that fun. Like in the movie, she comes after me with a rolling pin thinking that I'm an intruder, and she keeps her money safe in the refrigerator, just fun, quirky things. But she's also my rock. She helps to ground me and reminds me about my faith. And it's just a really beautiful, fun movie. Trevor Donovan stars with me. And yeah, Great American Family. And that's where I do all my movies now, including my upcoming Christmas movie in December. So I love the channel. It's just family friendly and really entertaining stuff.
Well, you just sold my wife on the plot right there. My mother-in-law, they're all in on it. It is amazing. Like, I'm always trying to look at, like, what is the true audience, of something, right? Like, everybody can go. You've got a lot of followers on social media. You can take to your Instagram page or your X account and post something and know that, okay, out of how many of these people are they real? Is it a bot, or are they real people? How many people are seeing it?
You never really know, I guess.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of engagement.
But like Great American Family, these are real people. Like, I feel like people who notice you in an airport or anywhere else, right? Like, the actual engagement with people coming up and talking to you about all the Christmas movies you're doing and all the family-friendly content, right?
It's funny, yeah, because so for most of my life, because I was on the Wonder Years at the age of 12, as you mentioned, for most of my life, mostly people would recognize me for the Wonder Years. And then I did that episode of Impractical Jokers, not sure if you saw it. People also mention that a lot, silly show. And then my math books. I've been writing math books for 20 years. And so then it became the Wonder Years and my math books. And then it was like Wonder Years math books, Christmas movies. So it's kind of split 3 ways, oftentimes more than one each. But that's kind of how I keep, like, again, when I'm traveling at the airport, I get recognized a lot. And I always see, like, okay, so what are people talking about right now? And by the way, I want to mention one more thing before we get into like the longer conversation. My new book, which you showed a picture of, I Love You 100, it's actually in pre-orders right now.
Okay.
Comes out November 4th. But if you order it at the link in my Instagram bio, which I believe is also in my X bio, there's a bookstore here in Nashville called Parnassus, and they're doing a thing where if you order it only before October 1st, so you guys only have a few more days, you can get a personalized autograph from me. This is super rare. I never get a chance to do this kind of thing. But if you put your name in the comment box on the order page, then you can actually get an autograph. And you'll get the book signed by me to whoever you wanted me to sign it to. The first week of November makes a great Christmas present. So just saying, I'm not sure when I'm going to be doing something like this again. And it's a really sweet book. It teaches kids to count to 100, all in the context of unconditional love. So every page is, as it takes you through the numbers, you're also hearing from a mother to her son, all the ways in which she loves him no matter what's going on. And so it really kind of teaches about unconditional love, what it means. Like, I remember when I was 5 years old, literally I was running down the hallway of the stairs and my mother was so upset, and she grabbed my arm and she stopped me and she yelled at me. And I remember asking her if I could have a hug. And I still remember to this day, clear as day, she looked at me and she said, of course, obviously, of course, I still love you. And so I thought, well, this is a good sort of way for parents to say, this is how I love you. I love you like this. While teaching their kids to count to 100, because that's what I do with all of my McKellar Math books. I teach math in the context of something kind of fun. And all the books are at McKellarMath.com. But again, if you want that personalized autograph, you have to order it through the specific link at the Parnassus Books in my bio on Instagram and X, and you can get a book signed from me to you.
Parnassus Books in Nashville. Really cool offer. Danica, I've got a 6-year-old daughter who's in kindergarten, so perfect for her. I'll be taking advantage of this. I've written it down with Parnassus Books.
Okay, awesome.
Really cool offer.
I can't wait to sign them for you. And there's no extra charge for the autograph.
Okay.
That's the thing. It's just the cost of the book.
I want to get into the math part of your life here, because you've had a very interesting career. So tell us about Danica McKellar, the mathematician, and why you're so passionate about this and helping kids with math.
Yes. So the Wonder Years ended when I was 18. So it was right when I went to college. And my plan, I went to UCLA. My plan was to be a film major. I'd been in the business my whole life. I wanted to learn the other side of things. And and I'd always liked math, but I always found it really challenging at the same time. And so I never imagined that I'd be able to do college math. For some reason, I thought that would be like this. Like, it was just for other people, like mathy people or whatever. I don't know. So I got to college and I took a math class that was really challenging. It was calculus, multivariable calculus. And I studied so hard for it. And I ended up doing really well in the midterm, like to the point where the professor came up to me afterwards and said, you need to pursue mathematics. And at the time at UCLA, I was getting recognized every day. Like, oh my gosh, aren't you that girl who plays Winnie Cooper? Aren't you that girl who is on TV? Aren't you that girl, played the Wonder Years? Or, whatever. Every day, like literally everywhere. I could not go anywhere without people saying that, which is fine. But as I got better at math and as I pursued math, I started getting recognized for being good at math. That midterm happened and the professor graphed the scores on the chalkboard, not with names or anything, but there's 163 people in the class. And I had the highest score and it was a 22 was the score. This kid tapped me on the shoulder and said, excuse me, aren't you that girl who got the 22? And it was like time froze. And I felt, and at the time, look, we hear about child actors going through a rough time, and it is tough because especially when you're a teenager trying to figure out who you are and what you're known for and what you're considered valuable for the whole world is tied to something that doesn't exist anymore. The show's over. So you start to ask yourself, well, what would my value be otherwise? And you're not really thinking it in those terms, but you're just feeling kind of insecure and not really sure what your place is. And then this math like became my new thing. It became something I felt really good about. I felt good about myself with it. It was great for my self-esteem because it's hard, right? Mm-hmm. But I was meeting the challenge and working hard, and I took a break from acting at that point. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do a film major. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm just going to study math. And I did for 4 years. Got a degree in mathematics, and gosh, it was probably like 7 years though after graduation that I started writing math books. And I targeted middle school girls because I'd done a bunch of research. I had actually spoken in front of Congress in 2000 about the importance of women in mathematics. I did a ton of research and learned that middle school is the time when girls start to shy away from math. They start losing their confidence in math. Their grades aren't going down yet, by the way, but their confidence is. And that's everything, because if you believe you can't do something, people always say, if you believe you can or you can't, you're right. But what does that mean? And why is that true? And I will tell you why it's true. If you think you can't do something, and even though you're succeeding at it, you think you're not going to be good at it, when you hit a stumbling block, and anything challenging will give you stumbling blocks, you're less likely to see it as a temporary, pause or a temporary setback.
Yeah,
you're more likely to see it as evidence of what you've always known deep down, which is that you don't belong and you can't do it, and so you give up. And that's why your confidence matters in what you're doing. Something like math. Anything that's challenging, anything worth doing is probably challenging, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
That's why. And so I thought, I'm going to target middle school girls, give them confidence, make them realize they belong here, and I'm going to speak their language. I'm going to write the book that I wished existed when I was a young girl, when I was 12. So I did. And it was called Math Doesn't Suck. And it was a huge bestseller. It was New York Times bestseller. It was everything. And so I started writing more and more books. And then now it's been 20 years. This is my 12th math book, this one. I have books all the way through high school geometry. They're all at McKellarmath.com. And I just love the feedback, hearing from teachers, hearing from students, parents, saying it's making a difference. And with the scores, the math scores as they've been in this country, and they're not getting better for some reason. It's more needed than ever. And tutors are expensive. So this is kind of like a substitution for a tutor.
It's very cool, and good work you're doing with that. Great work you did in the Wonder Years. Let's talk a little Wonder Years here. So spoiler alert for those that haven't seen a show that's over 35 years old, but the pilot episode is very memorable. It ends with you kissing Fred Savage after your brother is off in Vietnam, and you get the news that he has died in Vietnam. And it felt like a moment. Like, I went back and watched it recently, and I'm like, I remember being a kid watching this and remembering the music and the nostalgia for my parents, who were watching it, and how it tied into our parents' age and growing up in that. It was just like the perfect storm of everything. What's it like living in that? And when did you know, okay, this is something that's really big? When you're that young, you shoot that scene, and then you finally find out it airs and people are talking to you about it.
I had no perspective at all. I mean, for me, the big deal was that was my first kiss for real. So for me, that's what was the big deal.
Yeah, and it's on camera in front of the world.
Yep. That was the moment. I was so excited. Yeah, I had a huge crush on Fred at the time. So that was why it was a big deal to me. And then when the pilot aired, I remember a bunch of family came over and we all watched it and was like, yeah, this is great. Then I started getting fan mail, and that was strange. Like, these are people I don't know. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe we should set up a little fan club. Okay, but I was a kid going to school. I went to a difficult prep school all through junior high and high school, and I'd go back and forth. And so, I wasn't going to Hollywood parties. I wasn't really aware of what the show meant. I knew that just anecdotally, people telling me how much the show meant to them, or recognizing me, or saying, wow, the show was really accurate. They really nailed the 60s. That was my era. I heard that over and over and over again. But you still don't understand the numbers. 33 million people watched the episode last night. That's actually a lot. And I'm comparing it to the Cosby Show, who got 35 million. So at the time, everything is relative. And by the way, nobody gets ratings like that anymore because there's so many channels.
Never.
Back then,
the NFL gets ratings like that.
Channels.
And that's it. Like a Sunday afternoon football game will have 30-something million, and that is it. No television show will get that.
The Super Bowl, maybe.
Yeah.
Right? It's not, this is not, yeah, anyway. So it was, to have been a part of something like that is pretty incredible. And I remember it was probably the last year of the Wonder Years. Somebody referred to me as America's sweetheart, like just a friend. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Like, oh, well, yeah, you're like, and I was like, okay, because look, there was the music and the slow-mo, and they made Winnie Cooper into this whole thing, and it was amazing to be a part of it, but I wasn't aware of really what it meant to people at the time. It's really it takes years. It takes years to absorb something like that. So I would say probably for the last 10, 15 years, I've really understood. And I'm grateful to have been a part of it. I mean, it's so special.
Well, and growing up, and I'm not, around your age right now, but growing up watching shows like that, like in my mind, I feel like there's this like clubhouse of female teen idols that all hang out and, they're pen pals. Like you're talking with Tiffany Amber Thiessen, writing her letters back in the day, or you're friends with her today, or you and Lark Voorhees are hanging out, or you and Topanga have some sort of feud going on. Am I blowing this up in my head, or is this something where you've actually met these people and you know them because you do in a way have a very shared experience during that time? Yes.
Well, Danielle Fishel and I, we've met a few times, and it's always like, okay, yeah, Topanga. And we're like, wow, yeah, we are the Savage Brothers. We're our TV boyfriends. How about that? Whatever. Candace Cameron Bure is a good friend. She's also does a lot of movies for Great American Family Channel. So she was on a series back in the day. I don't know. I mean, you kind of keep in touch. I just did this podcast called, Hey Dude, the 90s Called, with Christine Taylor and David Lasher. They were on a show called Hey Dude back in the 90s. Anyway, we do find each other because we have this shared experience, but there's not a clubhouse. I'm sorry.
But you and Topanga are cool. There's no feud. I just
we're
made that up.
Very cool. No, why wouldn't we be cool?
Okay,
I guess.
I feel like there's got to be, someone's got to have some sort of rivalry, but you seem way too nice.
Well, okay, so when I was on Dancing with the Stars, so I was on Dancing with the Stars 11 years ago, and so was Candace Cameron Bure. And true story, back when we were like 13, she was dating Jeremy Miller, who was on Growing Pains, and then they broke up. Well, he broke up to date me, and I was only vaguely aware of that at the time.
Wow.
But so that came up. We sort of discovered that when we were on Dancing with the Stars. And so Dancing with the Stars, of course, they're always recording everything. So they made this big deal about it. And they had Jeremy Miller come and be in the audience and then, of course, try to pick between us, which he very diplomatically did not pick between us. He said they're both great. But that was pretty funny. So that was like, and there were these headlines like rivalry, love triangle. Like, okay, really? We were 13. This is not, and we were 13 back in the 80s, not 13 now. I feel like maybe it's a little different.
Who knew that Ben Seaver was so cool from Growing Pains? Jeremy Miller.
Yeah.
Really had it going on. Going from a member of the Tanner household to Winnie Cooper, pretty good gig for him. Hey, great work with all the children's books. You've got the movie coming out again, Grounded in Love, premiering tomorrow night, Saturday, September 27th, 9 p.m. Eastern on Great American Family. You got a Christmas movie coming out for the holiday season also. And the 12th book is out as well. I Love You 100, Danica McKellar. This has been a real treat for me, Danica. Thank you so much for doing this today.
It's been so nice chatting with you. I also want to mention that a lot of my Great American Family movies are on PureFlix as well.
Okay.
And including Grounded in Love. So if you don't want to wait for a certain schedule, you can go to pureflix.com. It's like Netflix, but with family-friendly movies, and see me there. But it has been a true pleasure. It's and I'm so glad to have completed a circle for you.
Yes, thank you. This is very, very important to me. So thank you so much. Appreciate
I look forward to signing a book also.
Yes. I'm gonna make that happen for Lucy, my kindergartner. So
Lucy, okay, I'll keep an eye out for it.
Thank you, Danica. Appreciate
Thanks so much.
Danica McKellar. Bye. So the clubhouse doesn't exist, but they all do know each other. So at least now I know that. And no rivalries with Topanga there. Danica McKellar, movie coming out, books are out, doing a lot of great work. So thanks to her for joining us. Thanks to John McClain for joining the show today as well. My top 10 college football games of the week. We're going to have that available for you on our YouTube page. A reminder, search at OutKick Hot Mic all together. And you got to put the @ in there, at OutKick Hot Mic, to find us on YouTube. You can catch everything there. We'll be posting my top 10 college football games and that interview to start with Danica McKellar all over the place across our socials. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll be back on Monday to bang some hats. This has been OutKick Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow.